I think people don't try and have their team learn skills because their experience has led them to believe that it is not possible to effectively learn skills on the job, which honestly, for the sort of standard ways of learning, I think is true. If you look at the kind of learning landscape, I think there's a very big bucket of learning, which I would call e-learning. It's the kind of online access to libraries of videos and content that you can access, which is really well optimized for people to go and understand new things, research things, broaden their horizons, investigate things they're interested in or passionate about that aren't really related to their work. You're probably not going to get a new skill that way unless you have the time to put it into practice in your spare time, or maybe your work gives you like 20% time to spend a day a week trying that thing out. But you're not going to get an actionable skill from that content. And then there's another kind of broad part of the market, which is classroom-based learning. So this is the kind of, let's go on a course for a few days. We're all going to be in the same room with
Our
the
whole team's
coach.
gonna take a Scrum course or something.
Right, exactly. So we're all going to go. We've got our kind of Prince 2 certified person at the front, trainer at the front of the room. They're going to take us through a course of like 5 days of Scrum training, which is not well optimized for people to actually learn new skills from. It's well optimized to give you access to an expert, to get understanding, to potentially try things out. But again, those models are really great for the trainer, honestly. That's such an amazing model to be a trainer in, because you can bring everyone together. You're often charging by the head, although
Yep.
that's not going to be true in every case. And so to get everyone in a room, you've got to book the space. There's a bit of admin, but the margins as a trainer are amazing.
Great business model, not necessarily great for students.
Not great. Yeah, I don't think it gets the best learning outcomes. And that's because by necessity, that model requires you to be generic. I can't specialize to each person in the room because there are so many of them if you're a trainer standing at the front of that room. I don't want to take away from those trainers. I think they are often highly skilled people, really expert in what they're doing with very good intentions. But the standard model for learning that they essentially get pushed into is not one that gets great outcomes. And I think if you're an engineering leader looking around at this landscape, why would you think that there is great learning available that is going to change the shape of what your team can actually do? There's learning available that's going to give your team the opportunity to explore their interests and their kind of coding as a hobby side of their lives. And there's learning which I think is great for compliance personally, like that kind of classroom training. If I have a tick box exercise that says everyone needs to be trained in GDPR or HIPAA or ISO 27, or maybe that's a bad example, but some kind of security compliance, say, that kind of course is perfect for that. I can just pay my fee, get everyone certified at the end that they completed the course, and then I have proven that we kind of tick the box on our compliance regime that says we have to provide that
But
training.
it's not necessarily developing great skills.
It isn't. So I think you can do the course for the kind of security compliance, but then you also need to get the skills in the team, which is an orthogonal task. Like if you want to actually have a secure web application, leave the course behind. Like come to the course when you need the compliance tick box. If you want your web app to be secure, invest in people's skills, or invest in people. The typical model we go for is not invest in people's skills, but invest in new people who already have those skills. We look for the person who's already spent 10 years securing web apps, and we bring them into the company rather than take our existing people and give them the kind of security skills that they need.
Do you see that as the right approach?
It's not a cost-effective approach. But again, in a world where you don't have great, effective learning, it probably is the right approach. It's probably the best way to do that. Otherwise, and this was one of the impetuses for me starting Skill a Whale. Otherwise, the way that you solve that problem is if you're not going to hire, you have to take it on. You have to be the one who sits with your team and coaches them and upskills them in the stuff that you know, or you have to rely on your network to come and either find freelancers or consultants or agencies who can come in and do a kind of fix up job for you that you can then try and maintain over time. In a world without learning that solves that problem with your existing people, you need outside help.